Hello, good afternoon everyone. My name is Keshav and I will be moderating the webinar today. I welcome you all to this webinar, and the topic for today's webinar is building industry grade connectivity solutions using WebSphere DataPower. Today we have Dinesh Shetty with us, who is IBM certified IT specialist at IBM Software Group. Dinesh has got more than 13 years of experience in leading SOA and integration architecture projects. He has experience in deploying long-established technologies such as Unix, distributed network, and messaging middleware environments. So during this webinar, you can ask your questions to the speaker by typing in the chat pane available in webinar software, and the speaker would take your questions during the webinar. So without further ado, I invite Dinesh to take the webinar.
Good afternoon, everyone. Moderator, can you please let me know if my screen is visible?
Yes, your screen is visible and your voice is also coming fine.
Thank
Please
you so much.
continue. Thanks.
Right. So again, good afternoon, everyone, and I must say thank you very much for having taken the time out and joining this session. As you heard, we will be speaking about how to build industry-grade connectivity solutions using WebSphere DataPower. My name is Dinesh Shetty, and as I've been introduced, I work as an IT specialist in the ISSW organization in IBM, which is nothing but software services for the brand called WebSphere. And I really appreciate you having taken the time out to come for this presentation. Now, to guide myself through this hour with you, I do have an agenda to keep me on track. And if you can see, first of all, I want to tell you why I put industry grade in the title. I'm also going to be describing what DataPower is, why we use appliances. DataPower is a SOA appliance from IBM. Comes in many flavors. We'll be talking about that. And we're going to be looking at all the use cases of connectivity and integration. And this is again in relation to DataPower. One of the few good things that I like to describe is a typical deployment scenario for architects and consultants who have joined in. It'll be good for you to understand how DataPower is positioned in enterprise architectures, and I'm also going to give a small reference. Apart from that, as I've promised in my abstract, I'm going to be describing what are the key characteristics that I believe should be in an industry-grade connectivity solution. We're going to be looking at security, we're going to be looking at high availability, scalability, performance, service level management, and providing rich functionality as well. And if time permits, I really want to do this. I want to show you all a demo of logging into a DataPower device here in IBM Bangalore, and show you some cool features that that we have in the device. All right. So let me begin with this cool term that I thought called industry grade. What you see on the left is a picture of a good-looking treadmill, and as you can see, if I were to describe, just by looking at the picture, the kind of features or the kind of requirements that one would have to build a treadmill like this. This certainly looks like an adequately strong equipment. Of course, not for heavy usage, but of course very good limited usage. It does provide the basic function of enabling or allowing a person to run, jog at different inclined angles and things like that. And also looks quite compact. It looks like a very, very good home solution. But if you've really been to commercial gyms, you wouldn't really find something like this. If you look at the picture that's come up on the right, and I'm sure many of us have seen this kind of equipment in commercial and well-off gyms. And if I were to describe this particular piece of equipment, it does look heavy duty. You would agree with that. Certainly looks reliable. If you look at the grade of material that's been used, it looks like it can go on for long hours without going down. And if you notice that it has a very, very good display with a lot of function, touchscreen display, and also sensors to monitor your heart rate and all of that good stuff. So this is the difference that I've always seen in software solutions that are industry grade. They do focus not only on providing cool and rich functionality, but also on looking at building a heavy duty solution, a reliable one, something that can sustain a lot of load and is really production worthy, right? So this is something that I put up this morning while I was thinking about how to introduce the term industry. Now,
Hello.
coming to my next slide, yes.
Sorry for disturbing. Your voice is fluctuating a lot. Suddenly, it was good for 2-3 minutes. Then it has started fluctuating, and it's not very clear.
Okay. I'm going to be now trying to disconnect headset. Is it okay now?
Yeah, it seems better now.
Okay, right. So I'm not on my headset anymore, but this is okay. So yeah, so to introduce DataPower, I know there'll be a lot of people in this in the audience who may not really know everything about DataPower. So it's just I'm anticipating that I'll have to give a good introduction about DataPower as well. So what is WebSphere DataPower all about? Now, in the business sense, WebSphere DataPower is an appliance. It is an SOA appliance from IBM, and business-wise, if we can qualify the attributes of this appliance, it does enable enterprise to secure their backend assets, their Web 2.0, the B2B, and cloud environments. And out of experience, I've actually seen this happening in the field with many of my customers who I've worked with. It's also a very simple solution, and it really simplifies gelling and bonding in your connectivity infrastructure that you may have in your organization. Acceleration of time to value. I'm going to give you a few examples on why we say that it accelerates your time to value. Merely because it is so fast to get up and running with this device and solutioning with the device. It is incredible what we can do and how much less time you need to put into to come up with a very robust solution. It does also governance and participate in life cycle of your services, of your backend services. So notionally and in a business sense, these are the four big words that we use to describe DataPower. Now the picture that you see is the picture of the appliance. This is the latest model with the next generation chipset, and it is the WebSphere DataPower XI52 box. So having understood what it does in a business sense, let me tell you exactly why we came up with an appliance. DataPower was acquired by IBM in the year 2005, and before that, DataPower had a very large customer base, and Eugene Kuznetsov, the founder of DataPower, brought in this appliance in about 10 years back. Now, why an appliance, right? If you see historically, we used to have software solutions for very basic capabilities like routing. We used to have Unix BSD routers sitting in Unix servers on and doing routing, right? But then that particular capability of a software component became so commoditized that it made a lot of sense to bring routing capabilities into a device. Today, routing is done in devices. It's been there for a long time, and no one really bothers as to what's the operating system that runs in it, what's the embedded software that runs in it. It does a very specific and purpose-built function of routing. Similar thing is happening with web servers. We are getting into situations where we need SSL accelerators, we need load balancers, we need proxy caches, and in the same way, XML processing is now something that is being commoditized. XML has been the choice of integration, and it's a choice of exchanging information for many years. So many years that it made a lot of sense to bring in XML processing capabilities into devices. DataPower is just one device like that. It does XML processing, and it does everything that XML components around XML and XML technologies can do. If I were to go into a little more detail to give you an overview of DataPower capabilities, it would be that it is a hardened and specialized hardware for helping integrate, secure, and accelerate store. When I say integrate, it's very easy to integrate with existing protocols you might have in your organization, in your architecture. Protocols like HTTP, HTTPS, backend being on MQ and COBOL. It could be file-based applications. It could be TCP-based applications. So DataPower falls in place where it can integrate with all of these protocols. Not only integrate, but also secure your backend assets. Now, if you see, this is when I first heard about DataPower, the way it was described to us was that it was what Apple did with the iPod. MP3 players have been in this world for many years, about 15 years already. But what Apple could do with a device like that was provide the hardware. It's a very cool, we all know that it's a very cool looking hardware. It comes with iTunes as a service, and of course it's a very consumable package: hardware, cool software, and of course the services that go along with it. Now, exact same way in which we see a lot of many functions in and around connectivity that DataPower provides, be it service level management, routing, transformation, policies, and security. All of these things running out of the box, and you don't really need external components to make it a fully functional device. It does certify with many security assurance certifications. If you have worked with organizations in the United States, government security guidelines are so strict that they do have to organizations do have to bend and actually certify themselves and their applications. DataPower is one such application one such solution that has been certified with all of the FIPS level, the HSM and the Crown criteria certifications. Apart from that, high performance and hardware acceleration. Now, why do I say high performance? everything inside of DataPower runs on wire speed. If you're XML processing outside the box, let's say you're doing XML processing with a Xalan XML engine in a software solution, the same thing happens inside DataPower at wire speed. So safely we can say that it's to the tens of times faster performing than an equivalent software solution, right? And this helps perform more security checks with without slowdowns. This is a device that spans across different groups in an organization, an IT organization. Enterprise architects find it very easy to position, given its hardened tamper-proof capability. Network operations people look at it as a something like a router, and of course security looks at it very seriously when it comes to resolving and solving security issues in the organization. So all in all, many such features, and the ones that I'm pointing out here are just at a very, very high level. We're going to be seeing a little more of this in subsequent slides, and we'll get there. Now, in terms of understanding where this device sits, or where this is in the layer, in the layers inside your organization, if you see, you have your application infrastructure. You have maybe SOAP-based web services, XML services, XSL services running in your application server, which is running business applications. You have your network infrastructure, your routing devices, your firewalls, and the one in between the network and the application infrastructure layer is where DataPower finds itself. S-Way appliances that are network aware, that are XML aware, and that can integrate with any of the protocols and formats that the backend may work with. So as you can see, S-Way appliances, simpler to manage, provides a very high level of security, and I'm going to be discussing a little more about security. It's very scalable. There's a slide that I put in which will make you understand what I mean by saying that it's really, really scalable. It's quick to deploy, and of course a reduced cost if you look at an ROI over multiple years. Now the reason I said quick to deploy, and I want to give a personal example. I was back in 2008 when I was on my first implementation of DataPower for a bank based out of Singapore. It took me exactly 12 hours to finish setting up of the development environment, the UAT environment, and the production environment as well. As less as about 12 hours, a day and a half is all it took for me to quickly deploy this and make it development ready. So again, I'm speaking from personal experience. It is really, really quick to deploy, and it certainly helps. This kind of a thing certainly helps when we're having emergency situations to deploy such software. Now, what you see in your next screen is the first use case where DataPower can fit into the connectivity and integration space. Now, if you see on the far right, what you have is probably a WebSphere-based application server, or it could be a Microsoft application server, or a BEA, right? And you have a web application onto the left that requires information from the backend server. Let us say that the backend server, which is either WebSphere, Microsoft, or BEA, is doing a lot of XML crunching. Let's say it receives a request and it has to crunch a lot of XML, transform a lot of XML, and then render that XML to the backend to the front end application. This kind of XML crunching or XML processing can be removed from the back end over here and then put onto DataPower appliance that will do that transformation on behalf of the back end. Now, what does that happen? What does that enable? It enables you to free up MIPS and CPU cycles that your precious server would be running to actually crunch all that XML. Instead of doing it in your backend, you could probably do it in a DataPower appliance, which is going to be faster, which is going to be reliable, and which is going to be running at wire speed. As you can see, you can handle significant workload generated by XML-based processing, and if you see the solution has the XA35 device. This device is no more in production, but it does devices today also do the same work as that one. So this is one use case that I thought was important and helps the acceleration concern of a customer to accelerate the SOA performance of from the backend. The second, and this, my friends, would be the most popular use case of DataPower, and even as a connectivity use case, it is a very important one. We all know that development can come up with the most functional application, most beautiful, or the most versatile application, flexible and everything, a business application, and deploy it on the back end. So the moment you switch on security, the moment you put it on a secure line, implement SSL or implement any authentication that you might need at the back end, your performance will go down. Right? This is exactly where DataPower steps in and works as an XML security gateway. You alleviate all of those requirements that a backend would need to provide in terms of security, and centralize the security responsibilities onto DataPower. Now, if you see the XS40 XML security gateway is shown integrating with a bevy of security access management solutions. It could be an enterprise directory, it could be Tivoli software, it could be SiteMinder software, it could be Oracle software, or it could be a plain custom application that does authentication using databases, right? Now, all of this can be centralized on DataPower. It not only provides as an appliance that can be the first line of defense, and when I say first line of defense is that DataPower can be the first device or first component that will receive a request coming from the internet. You wouldn't want to have your application server receiving requests from the internet just to ward off attacks, right? So DataPower, being DMZ worthy, can be placed in DMZ, integrate with back-end security management solutions, and do authentication, authorization, and auditing of incoming requests. So this is another very popular use case that I've seen over the years that I've been working with DataPower. Simplification of the SOA deployment is another thing that DataPower allows you to do, and I have in a subsequent slide you will see how easily you can centralize and simplify SOA deployment. Working with existing applications, working with back-end applications, and DataPower also can provide centralized management working with security applications in your existing enterprise. Okay, so as and when you see complexity increasing in the enterprise IT, you will see DataPower providing more and more value. And this is again a very significant use case of connectivity and integration, which is enabled by DataPower. One of the last use cases that I wanted to talk about was simplifying access to the backend systems via SOA. And here you can clearly see we've sort of indicating that information can come onto DataPower on any protocol, be it HTTP, be it JMS, be it MQ, be it FTP, be it TCP, or it could be a proprietary device, a mobile device. DataPower can convert that protocol into the supported protocols like MQ, FTP, JMS, all of that. So you have a very, very good use case where you're converting, where you're bridging protocols between disparate applications that work on different protocols without having to change anything in the backend or in the front-end application. Right. There is going to be another slide which is going to explain this a little more in detail. But what I've tried to do in these 4 slides is try and make you understand what are the different use cases of connectivity and of integration that are key to an enterprise, and ones that can be really used or rather exploited by a hardware device like an SOA appliance like DataPower. Now, if you see in the next slide, this is a very good architectural slide, and I love explaining this to architects who often tell me, Dinesh, how do I position this? How do I position this in the internet? How do I position this in the DMZ? And what are the use cases that I should look for? Right now, whenever you're going across your enterprise to your trading partners or to your business to business and business to consumer, it always requires you to be very fully aware of security concerns and integration concerns. If you see on the right-hand side, you have the internet. You have your organization sitting behind the DMZ in a secure and private zone. And on the left is another organization, which is, in our terms, called the Federated Extranet, that you do business with, that your organization does business with. Right? In the middle, you can see you have the internet user, who could be a simple user, who could be a very professional hacker, who would be employed to hack your backend devices, backend servers. And if you see the first use cases to actually help protect against incoming attacks, you could have different kinds of security applied to incoming attacks, including XML denial of service attacks. Believe me, there are ways in which SQL injection can go through and actually hamper the performance of your backend server, bringing it down to a screeching halt. So DataPower can provide and prevent that particular attack, incoming attack from the internet, by setting in the DMZ, not letting any of the XML attacks coming through. The second use case is, let's say your organization is working with a bank, and responses to requests coming out from the internet user or from the external application needs to have a security sensitive information. For example, let's say you're basically putting in a credit card number that's going out and into a response. Now, DataPower allows you to do outgoing access control. It also allows you to do field level encryption and allows you to mask information that's going out of your organization. So that's the second use case that you can see in this picture. The third use case is, again, of security. On the top right corner, you might have an internal user who would probably require to access resources at the back end, but may not be permitted to. To enforce that information security, DataPower can provide as an internal security device as well. Now, if you do have web services at the back end, and if you are in the business of providing service level management or quality of service, you might want to route requests. Let's say a simple example: you're a bank and you have three kinds of customers: platinum, gold, and silver. You want an enriched experience, a faster experience for the platinum customers. That sort of decision making, that sort of service management can be created and can be developed in DataPower using the XI50 device. And that's the fourth one on the bottom right corner that you see. On the left-hand side, there's another use case that's being shown. This is basically legacy enterprise applications being integrated from your store platform. Let's say your legacy application is running on an IMS as an IMS application on the mainframe, or probably it's a KICS application that understands COBOL service copybooks. Now, and the protocol that it understands maybe MQ, but your platform is based on SOA and web services, and you're probably receiving XML that needs to go up to the legacy application. This is where DataPower allows you to transform not only the protocol from HTTP to MQ, but also from XML, your data format from XML to COBOL copybook, which is a fixed length format. Now that can be done inside of DataPower. So that using that, you can say that you can provide legacy transformation using DataPower. Okay. So I'm going to give you a very simple example. This is a real-world example. This happened with a financial services group. I'm not supposed to disclose the name, and hence I've masked it. Their challenge was to provide a better, communication process with their B2B portal. They wanted to implement functional, security functionalities to protect their mission-critical applications at the back end, and they also wanted to adhere to a standard called SAML. SAML is nothing but security assertion markup language. This is a way in which you can describe security assertions coming from policy decision points, something like a policy server that delivers the decision of authentication, authorization, okay or not okay, or rejected. Right? They also wanted to integrate with an LDAP directory, and they also wanted to transform messages going in and coming out of that application. So the solution, as you can see on your right, the security was provided by the XS40 device. This is a DataPower device, and the integration with MQ, the backend applications, was done by XI50. Now, if you see the benefits, again, increased customer satisfaction, faster response times, enables secure standards-based interoperability. The SAML is something that you might want to use, and if you're a security person, you'll understand that trust management and federation and identity federation is best done using standards and protocols like SAML. Also, it did support the Accord XML standard, so that was a good thing that happened with this particular customer. Now, I'm about halfway into the session, and it's about time that I tell you what I believe is a characteristic of industry-grade connectivity solutions. Coming over to the next slide, and this one again is architecturally very self-explanatory slide. Let's look at the yellow box in the center, and view all of those lines in that as functionality that you would need in any application, right? Today, in any application, application architects, and enterprise architects do think about how are you going to do the security processing? What are the routing rules? What are the transformation rules? Do we have to adopt to a new XML standard? Do we need to do access control updates, or do we just want to change the schema of one of our applications? Let's say, for example, the purchase order schema. That's probably changed, right? Now, if you were to do this on all your application servers, you'd have to do them separately and individually on each of them, right? And that's what the diagram or the picture on the left indicates. You've got all of those things going on different kinds of servers. You have Oracle 9, you have BEA, and you have IBM WebSphere. You'd have to update each application individually. Now, if you were to do this, the architectural benefit of doing all of this in a centralized location is the value that DataPower provides, and that can be seen in the picture on the right. Your applications need not really bother about the security processing, the routing, the transformation. All of that gets done inside of DataPower, and you alleviate all of that work from the back end into DataPower. Now, again, this really simplifies the back end and does build a responsibility on DataPower to actually manage this with the tools that DataPower provides. It's an extremely simple way of integrating your backend with the users and your clients. So providing ability to simplify and centralize is one good attribute of an industry grade solution is what I believe. Now, another slide I brought in, and this was to explain to you how DataPower provides the capability to simplify enterprise integration. Right now, if you look at all of the items that have been mentioned, in all the layers of the architecture or the topology, if you can see, right in the DMZ, there's a lot of IP-based load balancing that you might have to do. You might have to do SSL offloading. You might have to do transformation, authentication, identity federation, monitoring, traffic shaping, caching. All of these functions are usually achieved by using different solutions coming together as one big solution, right? And it is a tall order to put all of these things in order. In the trusted domain, on the right hand side, you will see that there's again IP-based load balancing that you might have to do. You might have to do some protocol mediation to reach the backend servers. Of course, validation and caching as well. Now, the way an industry-grade connectivity solution should look like is all of these things provided out of the box make a much simpler solution. WebSphere DataPower can provide all of this in sort of out of the box package, out of the box feature. It could be application intelligence, and I'm going to show you a slide on what I mean by application intelligence. It does application security. It does SSL acceleration, SOA optimization, of course, routing, all the ESB capabilities that you might want. Routing, transformation, mediation, handling of events, and all of that. Right. So this is what I call a comprehensive solution and a comprehensive component that can simplify your architecture and infrastructure. Now this is again this is one of the most liked features of DataPower, and again, not many software solutions can ever boast about this. As I said before, that when you build rich applications at the back end, it looks fantastic. It does perform very well. But the moment you switch on security, the moment you switch on encryption, speed and the performance of the back end application goes down dramatically. Right now, an industry-grade solution should be able to provide security without losing performance. What you see from left to right and numbered is basically weights, or rather values, that indicate the kind of processing time that is taken by different kinds of activities that go on with XML. XML parsing may be the cheapest operation. A little more expensive than that would be schema validation. And if you see, XML transformation is really a very, very heavy and a very expensive operation.
Also, when you start looking at XML encryption and decryption, or it could be signature verification if you want to if you want to ensure that your data running over the wire is not tampered, you can have a situation where you might want to digitally sign your information, which means that on the other end you have to verify the signature, digital signature that arrives. So that is these are very expensive operations, and when it compares, if a software solution were to implement all of these 1 through 10 and all of these functions in the colored boxes, you can see that software can become really slow. Now, what does DataPower help with? DataPower does all of this again at wire speed, and I can safely say that you can build a fast solution compared to a software solution at least 40 times faster than an equivalent software solution. As you can see, performance is key. Each security function requires XML processing. It must implement all services, and you need to scale as and when your user content and your user base grows. So this is another very important factor of an industry-grade solution. Providing high availability. Today, high availability, the answers to most questions of high availability is that, hey, why don't you just put a load balancer in front of the solution so that you can have multiple servers receiving requests from that one load balancer. In DataPower, load balancing is done, or rather self-balancing and high availability is provided out of the box. You do not have to employ load balancers before DataPower devices to spray IP requests. Not only that, DataPower is a device that is aware of WebSphere cell configurations at the back end, and based on the load, it can decide which particular server should receive that particular request. So there is a handshake between your backend WebSphere assets, WebSphere cell configurations, and your DataPower, and using that particular information, DataPower does intelligent load distribution whenever you don't have a session affinity as a requirement. DataPower also provides session affinity. If you switch on session affinity, requests that have been served by a particular backend server will be the one to receive the subsequent requests based on DataPower's configuration. So again, providing high availability and scalability is another very important factor of an industry-grade solution. Ability to provide service level management and monitoring. Now, this I've actually seen. I've never really seen a software solution that can say, hey, I don't want to receive a request if it is more than 10 requests every 2 seconds. This kind of configuration can be done inside of DataPower. DataPower does provide you with a rate limit, and if you can see on the picture on the right, and I'm really sorry it may not be very visible, but what you see is a WSDL on the left hand side of the picture, and all of the different ports on that particular WSDL. What you would want to do whenever there is a certain kind of traffic that's coming onto a certain kind of operation, you might want to shape, you might want to throttle, or you might want to just notify that, hey, you know what, I received from user X more than 20 requests in the last 10 seconds. This kind of granular control can be provided in DataPower, and DataPower will notify, shape, or throttle this request. When it is SOAP based, you can, since HTTP is a synchronous protocol, you will have to receive multiple requests to get your request in. Not only that, it also, and I missed that out, it also provides a graphical display of and this again, this is out of the box. It provides a graphical display to show you how many times the threshold was crossed with a sine wave and things like that. So again, being able to provide service level management and monitoring out of the box without a third monitoring tool or monitoring application to it is a very good quality of an industry grade solution. Oh yeah, there it is. The second the graph that you see now is the one that's produced inside of DataPower for you to monitor the kind of service level management that has been applied. Coming to the next screen, and I have some time to describe this. Providing rich functionality in protocol bridging. I've explained this before. What you see on the left-hand side top picture is a DataPower device receiving and integrating with different kinds of applications. You have an Oracle or a DB2 or a Sybase database using ODBC. You have a third-party application server that you have to connect to with JMS. You have WebSphere MQ. You have WebSphere JMS. You have web requests coming over HTTP and HTTPS. You also have FTP. DataPower has the capability to receive requests from any of these protocols that you see on the left-hand side and convert them back into any other protocol. For example, you might have requests coming in over HTTP. It could be SOAP, it could be XML, but your backend application may be MQ. So DataPower will convert the protocol and the XML payload into the MQ protocol with whatever transformation is required. So this is protocol bridging. If you see the picture on the down right corner, you have DataPower appliance with a routing policy created and deployed into as a service. And what DataPower can do is route requests that are coming from disparate clients to the appropriate backend service. So this could be based on HTTP headers. This could be based on XML attributes. This could be based on XML fields that are in the payload. Right. So this is again, as I said, one very, very important function that DataPower provides, to sort of enable the provision of a rich functionality when it comes to protocol bridging and data transformation. Right. With this, I think I have come to a point where I can receive questions. Before we do that, I do have to let you know about these two slides. I belong to a team called IBM WebSphere Lab Services, and if you see the different kinds of services that we provide, basically to achieve success with your delivery model, we do customer ownership. We do deliver solutions, end-to-end solutions, and of course, if you see the key focus areas and offerings that we have in terms of WebSphere integration and BPM, business process management services offerings, we have enablement services, we have performance engineering services, we have migration services, and of course we have integration maturity and health check assessment. If you ever feel the need to avail any of these services, and if you would like to get in touch with me or my team, please do contact Pawan Raval. The email has been provided. With this being said, I'll go back to the question slide, and I can take questions. I think I have a good 15-20 minutes where I can answer questions, and I hope there'll be many.
Yes, the questions are already shared with you.
Okay, great. So let me just go to. All right, so there's a section called questions. I'm opening that. Okay, so there's one question that's come in which says, what is the WSDL? Now, WSDL is a description language. It is a short form WSDL is a short form for Web Services Description Language. This basically tells you how what is the interface. If you're a Java person, you would understand what an interface is. It is basically a contract between the consumer of that interface and the provider. What you're trying to tell here in a visual or describe in a visual is that I have a service. Let's say, for example, I have let's say a loan application service, right? Or a loan amortization service. So the different kind of that particular application may have different methods that you might want to do. For example, different functions. Let's say you want to process a claim or process an application. You may want to do a credit check on the application. Now, each of these functions are basically services that that interface is providing, and each of these services will require a request and a response, message format. So what you will define is what service is running, what is the input the service requires, what is the output the service is going to provide with, and where this particular service is located. So you have the address, you have the definition of the interface, and once that is published, consumers can use it, consumers can view it, consumers can access it using the service description language. Okay. I'm getting more questions. Hang on a second. Right. Okay. So I'm coming to the first question that Satish P has answered. What is the difference between IBM Message Broker and DataPower? WebSphere Message Broker, and this is a question that I often get asked. WebSphere Message Broker and WebSphere DataPower are two different components from IBM. They are basically enterprise service bus solutions from IBM. But what differs in that is the way in which you will look at the solution for your customer. Let us say your customer has very complex transformations that you need to do. Let's say that there is a lot of let's say that you're not really worried about security with that kind of solution. So WebSphere Message Broker fits in very well with very complicated or complex transformations. So that is one big difference. WebSphere Message Broker, again, as I said, is a software solution. DataPower is an hardware appliance solution. WebSphere Message Broker cannot be placed in the DMZ. If you were to require to transform XML to XML or XML to any other, and if you had to do it in the DMZ, there would not be any place. You would need to use some sort of a web server to move that request into the private zone where your message broker can handle. With DataPower, you can handle that in the DMZ. You can put your DataPower device in the DMZ and receive all these attacks, all these requests as well. Kailash asks me, with cloud computing becoming increasingly popular, how can DataPower configure itself to fly to demanding requests? Yes, and again, there's a whole lot of focus on cloud computing. I myself have been aware of a way in which DataPower has been positioned, and one of the features of DataPower is to provide a secured socket connection into a socket connector into the cloud. Let us say you have an off-premise cloud, and you need to connect DataPower securely. DataPower provides that kind of a feature right out of the box. Okay, how long would it take for DataPower come up on its own. I assume the question is how much time it takes to for a DataPower to come up, as in survive a restart. But it is quite instantaneous. It really depends on how many resources you have. But I must tell you that the footprint of the operating system that runs on DataPower is not more than 20 megs. And that makes it really, really fast. In about 2 minutes time, you have your DataPower up and running, even with a lot of services included in it. Dipankar asks me, is DataPower an ESB device? Yes, it is a fully functional ESB device, and as you can see, I equated that to a message broker appliance as well, a message broker solution as well. We can use XI50 as security instead of XS40. You are absolutely correct. All the devices that we have, when you say you have XS40, and then you say that there is a device called XI50. XI50 has all the good things that an XS40 device has. Right? So your XI50 is already a security device. The only thing that you're getting more than XS40 is the integration capabilities of protocol bridging and any-to-any transformation that you can do in the XI50. How about logging facilities in DataPower? This is a question from Harish. Harish, thank you for asking this. DataPower does provide onboard logging. You can log, you can have very granular control in terms of what you want to log, how you want to log it. DataPower can also connect to an external logging target. Let us say you have a syslog based a syslog server running outside of your DataPower box. In your enterprise somewhere, DataPower can connect to that device and push all the logs into the syslog server outside the device. Okay, moving on to the next question. Do you have a method to log different service requests into separate log files? Of course, you can do this, and this is again available. This can be done when you have different log targets. With different log categories. So all you have to do is mention your category and it will fall into that particular log target. Shivananda Pandey did ask me WSDL and I did answer that. I'm going to the next question. How mature is integration with database? And this looks like it's coming from a person who knows a lot about DataPower. It comes from Anant Anu. In terms of maturity in integration with databases, DataPower may not match the way things are with Message Broker. Message Broker has a lot more functionality, a lot more granularity, and a lot more complex functions can be done. Having said that, I wouldn't say that it cannot be done in DataPower. It's just that that in most 90% of the field implementations I've seen, very few I've seen where DataPower has been extensively used. We do use it for lookups and looking up a transaction table or a routing table, but that's pretty much it. It certainly has a long way to go when it comes to database integration, but we do provide that. How do you achieve timeouts with database from DataPower? Well, Ananta, I myself have never really tried this, and I must say that I will come back to you offline on this. At the moment, I do not have the answer. What's the JAXView tool and why is it useful in SOA? Again, Ramakrishna Narkedamilli has asked me this question. I'm really sorry. I do not know what a JAXView tool is. I haven't really got the chance to work on it. And I'll have to move on to the next question. But do please, write me email if you need any other. The next question is how can secure the admin ID of the console access in DataPower, and how can one recover if someone mess up? Right. So the administration ID of DataPower is very, very important. You must not lose the password for that, and if you do lose it, you have to ship the box to United States or to any support where you will have to where they'll have to reset the password and give it to you. You cannot open the device. It self-destructs if you try to do that. But this is a very important question. An administration password of the DataPower device should never be lost. Wasim Abbas asks me, what is the key problem area because of which DataPower is developed as a hardware? Yeah, the key problem area was to provide high performance solutions and faster solutions. You might have heard me mention that I did this implementation in a bank in Singapore, and for me to to actually go about laying out their infrastructure for security of their web services initiative, it didn't take me more than a week. In about a day's time, in about a day and a half time, I could set up their development environment and all the other environments. So the kind of speed that you get when you work with a purpose-built solution is much faster than software solutions. So this was one area that was targeted. Another area that was targeted was XML processing. XML processing is certainly much faster in a DataPower device than it is in a software solution. Moving on to the next question, as mentioned in the last slide, DataPower XF50 appliances capable of transforming protocols and formats across disparate technologies. Two questions. We can see DataPower as an ESB. If yes, what is the difference between WESB and DataPower? Again, WESB is the third ESB component from the IBM WebSphere house of products, and there's only three. There's DataPower, there's Message Broker, and there's WESB. WESB fits in. WESB can do a lot of things that DataPower can do. Again, it is security that DataPower does much better. But if you have a SOA-based solution, if you have web services everywhere, and if you have process server, then this becomes an easier way to integrate. However, if you do need to achieve fast transformation, if the XML crunching functionality is a lot more than others, then certainly DataPower can be looked at as a combined solution along with WESB, where you can have a composite kind of a solution. Does DataPower support 2048-bit SSL and CA? I will have to get back to you. I have to ensure I give you the right information, and do please work with me offline, and I will answer that question. Prakash J has asked me, shall we use DataPower for a non-SOA implementation project? Well, certainly. I mean, you don't really need to have a SOA in place. XML processing is not all XML processing is SOA. Not all security is SOA. I'm basically I'm working on a project right now with another consulting organization where we're doing a lot of security, which is based on a proprietary backend and protocol. So certainly not a so SOA is a good enabler, but need not have a non-DataPower solution for a non-SOA project. How WebSphere is the best Cisco routers in terms of security, traffic handling, and synchronization? This is a competition-based question. I know that security Cisco routers do provide functionality in terms of security, but I may not be able to answer in terms of synchronization and handling. I wouldn't really know. I'd have to look for this myself. So I'm sorry that I cannot answer your question today, but maybe offline we can have a discussion. How do we monitor the services running in WebSphere DataPower, and how to support the user authentication managed? Now this is a question from Prabhakar. Monitoring of DataPower services can be done from DataPower itself. there are many ways that you can monitor services, and of course, DataPower provides a lot of onboard tools like the status tools and as you saw, a lot of other tools that tell you, what are the services that are up or down, and in terms of user authentication, DataPower does participate in user authentication by taking a request and relaying that request to an access management solution. Let's say you have a Tivoli Access Manager, or if you have a SiteMinder policy server, DataPower can integrate directly with the access management solution and provide the authentication or authorization-based response. How does software customization done for client and DataPower hardware device? DataPower does provide a lot of things out of the box. For example, if you were to authenticate with authenticate an incoming request, a SOAP request which has the user ID in the WS security header, and if you were to authenticate it with an existing LDAP server, you would not have to write any code in DataPower to achieve this functionality. It is it's a matter of a few minutes, and you can achieve that integration. However, if you have a complex requirement, let us say the authentication requirement is pretty complex as a requirement itself. Let us say your client is requesting for a requirement which says that if the person is in this group, then check if the person is also in this group and not in this group. Only then do you authenticate. So this becomes like a custom authentication mechanism. DataPower provides XSL extensions, and this is the term that we use. XSL extensions from DataPower that run only inside of DataPower allow you to do this kind of extending functions and customizations that you might want to need. Customizations can be done, and the keyword here is using XSLT extensions from DataPower. Is DataPower capable of providing information regarding application failures? Yes, DataPower. This is a question from Jyoti Ranjan Naik. DataPower is aware of the services that are around. Let us say that a service, or let's say even a fan inside of the DataPower device goes down. There is an alert that DataPower can trigger, and based on an SNMP server, you can basically trap this request, trap this kind of an alert, and act on it. So certainly, application failures, DataPower does provide a lot of information in terms of logging and audit. Can I use DataPower to analyze XML from Tally? I'm not sure I understand this question very well. I'll have to move on to the next. Does DataPower work as a firewall? Yes. This is a question from Ashwini Kumar. DataPower works as a firewall. It works as an XML firewall. It can work as a reverse as well as a forward proxy in your network environment. What are the key differences between Oracle OSB and DataPower? This is a question from Harish. Harish, I'm sorry, I do not know the difference between Oracle. I do not know much about Oracle OSB, and I will not be able to answer that question. What is happening in the cloud computing application security? Is email alert possible? Yes, email alerts are possible. This is a question from Jyoti again. Email alerts are possible, certainly, and this can be done very simply in DataPower. What happens in the cloud computing application security? I did answer this question a little while ago. If you have an application sitting in an optimized cloud, and if you have DataPower connecting to it, DataPower can use out-of-the-box features like the secure socket connector, the SSC connector into the cloud computing application to ensure that you have a solution that will be a secure solution, using SSL. Right. Now I must say that we have another 5 minutes to go. And I think I'm done with all questions, right? Since I do have some time, let me just quickly show you, if you guys are still online. I just wanted to show you what a DataPower device login looks like. Moderator, can you please tell me if you were able to see the screen? Okay, yeah. So what I have here is an XI50 console, which is in our labs in Bangalore here, and I'm trying to log into it. Hang on, I'm going to be using my friend's ID, and let me just see this. So I get into a domain. And what you're seeing here is what has popped up on your screens is the main control panel of a DataPower device. Now, as I said, you do not really have to have a rich client to connect to DataPower. All you need is a browser that supports DataPower, and you're good to go. Now, what you see here is are the different kinds of services that you can build. You can build a web service proxy. You can build a multi-protocol gateway. You can build an XML firewall and a web application firewall. Now, you can also have a web services monitor, as I was telling you. You have logging in place that allows you to look at log. If you can see, and you'll see this coming up on your screen in a moment. These are the different kinds of logs that DataPower provided me. Apparently, there is some kind of an error with some of the applications. So you really have a fully functional GUI. I must show you some of the status reports. You can also have a situation where you want to look at CPU usage of DataPower. If you look at that, you get to monitor how much, what is your percentage of usage in your DataPower device. You'll get to see there is 4 gigabytes of flash RAM that DataPower uses, and if you see if you see what you're seeing right now on the screen is what's the total memory, what's the used memory, what's the free memory, and all of this is online and at real time. So this is one of the very few things that I like to show. I do want to show you how easy it is to build an XML firewall, and I'll just show you how people who have worked with Message Broker before will understand what I'm talking about. I want to show you a very basic firewall and how you can build a message flow between the request coming into DataPower and reaching the backend request. What are the different kinds of actions that you can put in? I know I have a couple of minutes left, and I hope to show that as well. Now, looking at the policy, this is a policy. It's a basic firewall that we created, and I want to quickly show you the GUI part of this policy. Now, what you can see is different actions, and it'll come up in a moment. Where are you? Let's hang on for a while. Oh, looks like it is showing me only one screen. So what I'm actually showing you is basically a toolkit from inside of the browser that allows you to sequence actions one after another and configure those based on whatever you would like to do. Let me go back to the control panel again. For some reason, I don't see it coming up on your screens, but yeah. So, any more questions? If I can answer.
Yeah, we do have a couple of questions.
I'm glad. Okay. All right. Is email alert? Yeah. There is another question. Is there any IBM tools or environment used for customization? when it comes to tools, IBM of course has tools that will work with DataPower very much. In terms of monitoring DataPower, you must Google out IT CAM for SOA, IT Composite Application Manager for SOA. That helps in monitoring a vast DataPower based enterprise. You also can do customization to the GUI. No, I do not have there is no way in which we can customize the GUI that the DataPower already provides, but yeah, customization is possible in the services that you build using DataPower. Service aggregation, yes, this is a very good question. It does support service aggregation. You can fan out requests and certainly receive responses and build aggregate responses for that particular service. So yes, it does. How to learn DataPower in India? Is there any training available in India? Yes, there is. Please do get in touch with the email ID that was shared, and or you could get in touch with me, and I will put you onto the people who do this training. I am a certified trainer myself, but there is a whole team that looks at training requests. Any more questions, moderator? SAML, right? There is out-of-the-box support for SAML. DataPower supports SAML as in it understands SAML tokens. There are ways in which you can receive a SAML token, and DataPower, if you have the SAML key, then DataPower can read the key and authenticate an incoming request using the SAML token that comes. DataPower also can create a SAML token for you and provide it back to you and this is a very, very simple thing. So yes, there is very tight integration with SAML because it is a WP standard, and it does certainly. Someone's asked me, Ravindranath has asked me, what will be the cost of DataPower? List price, I do not know. I do not belong to the sales team, but I would be wrong to tell you a wrong number. So you must contact IBM sales to find out the cost of DataPower, because I don't know what are the discounts applied and things like that. Okay, looks like we are running over. I certainly can take in just a couple of questions if there are any. Otherwise, I must say thank you, TechGig, for giving me this opportunity, and thank you so much for all of these questions and all of those who have actually joined the call. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. We can conclude the session now.
Okay, as there are no more questions, moderator, I hope you have been able to record this successfully, and I hope this will be available for online as well.
Thanks, Dinesh, for your informative session on IBM registered DataPower. It was indeed an enlightening session, and I would also like to thank our participants for the support in making this webinar a huge success. Yes, we have recorded this webinar, and the recording will be available on techgig.com by tomorrow. The next webinar is happening tomorrow, and the topic would be Intro to Internet of Things. Speaker would be Mr. Girish Deshpande, a Director Engineering at Mindtree Limited. So see you all at 3 p.m. tomorrow. Have a nice day.